Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Rasa Bihari Radha Rasa Bihari Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman Jaya Goranitai 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 Jaya Goranitai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन में फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय So today morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8. Lord Krishna shows the universal form. Text 50. Please repeat. Astvityukta sa Bhagavan व्रजे द्रोणो महायशाः जज्ञे नंद इति ख्यातो यशोदासाधराभवत् अस्त्वित्युक्तः स भगवान् व्रजे द्रोणो महायशाः जज्ञे नंद इति ख्यातो यशोदासाधराभवत् अस्त्वित्युक्तो स भगवान् व्रजे द्रोणो महायशाः जज्ञे नंद इति ख्यातो यशोदासाधराभवत् नंद इति ख्यातो अस्त्वेत्युक्तः भगवान् व्रजे द्रोणो महायशः धर्मे नंद इति ख्यातो यशोदासधरा भवत्। व्रजे द्रोणो महायशः नंद इति ख्यातो यशोदासधरा भवत्। माता अस्तो इति स भगवान् व्रजे द्रोणो महायशः जज्ञे नंद इति ख्यातो यशोदासाधरा भवत्। माताजी अस्त्वित्त स भगवान् महायशः ये नंद इति ख्यातो यशोदासाधरा भवत्। Word to word translation. Astu, when Brahma agreed, yes, it is all right. Iti uktaha, thus being ordered by him. Saha, he, Drona. Bhagavan, eternally the father of Krishna. Bhagavan's father is also Bhagavan. Vraje, in Vrajabhumi. Vrindavana, Drona, Drona, the most powerful Vasu. Mahayashaha, the very famous transcendentalist. Jadnye, appeared. Nandaha, as Nanda Maharaj. Iti, thus. Khyataha, is celebrated. Yashoda, as Mother Yashoda. Sa, she. Dhara, the same Dhara. Abhavat, appeared. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. When Brahma said, yes, let it be so, the most fortunate Drona, who was equal to Bhagavan, appeared in Vrajapura, Vrindavan, as the most famous Nanda Maharaj, and his wife Dhara appeared as Mother Yashoda. Purport. Because whenever Krishna appears on this earth, he superficially needs a father and mother, Drona and Dhara. His eternal father and mother appeared on earth before Krishna as Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. In contrast to Sutapa and Prushnigarbha, they did not undergo severe penances and austerities to become the father and mother of Krishna. This is difference between Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So before we start, I would like to take the blessings of His Holiness Maharaj and all the senior devotees, all of you, so that we can discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam. So as this discussion is going on of Krishna showing the universal form in his own mouth to Mother Yashoda, and now this is just 3 verses, 2 more verses remaining for completing this chapter. So Shukadeva Goswami is very amazed and excited, thrilled to tell these pastimes of Krishna, who are like a small baby child. And he is thrilled about the glories and the fortune which Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mata and other cowherd boys. So he not only glorifies Krishna, but then he is now glorifying Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and how they are so glorious to achieve the unparalleled intimate association of Krishna. The kind of service they offered to Krishna, that is unparalleled. Nobody can even compare to that. And we see that this is the realization of any devotee who understands the supremacy and the greatness of Krishna, that understanding of Krishna immediately puts him in the glories of his devotees. Like we see in case of one very special devotee who was sent by Krishna with his message to Vrindavan. Who? Uddhav, who was very intimate, dear friend of Krishna. He was guide to Krishna. He was relative of Krishna. And he was as good as Krishna, because his complexion was like him. He looked also similar, and he was always Krishna conscious. So even when he came there, gopis also could see that whether he is Krishna or when they saw from distance. So when he came and he saw and he understood the glory of these devotees, specifically the Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mata and gopis, how much they love Krishna, he felt so insignificant. he thought that he is the devotee, so close to Krishna, they are like. But then, when he understood the intimacy of Krishna's reciprocation with these devotees, neither he felt any envy, there was no comparison, there was no kind of, he didn't feel that. Because of his genuine Krishna consciousness, he felt that I am so insignificant and I should get the mercy of these devotees. Even it cost me to become a grass on the Vrajabhumi, so that this Vrindavan Vasis, Gopas, Gopis, they can walk and very easily I can get the dust of their feet on my head. And that itself will be a great fortune. So, which is greater than being with Krishna in Dwarka 24/7. So here also we see that Shukadeva Goswami is thrilled to tell these pastimes and starts glorifying now Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, how great they are. So more one advances in Krishna consciousness, more he understands the glories of Krishna, more he becomes appreciative of other devotees. So more one understands Krishna, more one understands the glory of his Tadiya, and that is devotees. So here the description of Dhara and Drona, who appeared as Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata, is given here. Prabhupada writes here that this is the difference between these two personalities. In past, Sutapa and Prushnigarbha, they also prayed to Krishna, and they had, the description is there in the scriptures, that the kind of austerities they went through is humanly impossible. Now we can just hear only, there is no question of imitating. Thousands of years they were fasting and doing tapasya. And then Lord appeared and then they said that we want son like you. Lord said, there is nobody like me. There is nothing called as like me. He says, I am only one. He said, I will come as your son. And that's how we see that Krishna appeared. But then here, the Acharyas are giving a difference between this Dhara, Drona, who became Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and Sutapa and Prushnigarbha. That these personalities, Sutapa and Prushnigarbha, they had to go through a lot of austerities to achieve Krishna as their son. But then Dhara and Drona didn't. Why? Because they are naturally, eternally father and mother of Krishna. So there is no question of they have to achieve that status of becoming father and mother of Krishna. They are. Not in this life only, but Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata, they are eternally father and mother of Krishna. Wherever Krishna is there, they are there. So they appear. And then Prabhupada in the end he describes that this is the difference between Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. So Nitya Siddha means they are eternally liberated, and Sadhana Siddha means they are liberated by doing sadhana bhakti under the guidance of Nitya Siddha. So then they are also liberated. Jai Shri Radha Ras Bihari Ji ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaunitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So in our case, when we are trying to do our sadhana, with so much obstacles on our path to achieve Krishna. When we are talking about this Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha, yesterday only His Holiness Anant Krishna Maharaj was telling one story. He was telling that in Buxar, when in jail, he was telling one incident happened that many times people they come in jail and they are very eager to go out. But he was telling that one person was there, he was so comfortable. Police were telling him, go get out. He was telling, no, I want to be here only. Because he was getting good food and security was there. And so that is the situation of many people in this world. That it is very difficult even to understand that this is material world. We have to get out. The police is trying very hard. Let him go now. But then people are so adamant that they don't want to go. They feel that this is better. So, the sadhana siddha and the nitya siddha. Siddha means they have achieved perfection. And Prabhupada says that there are different ways of achieving perfection. So, he talks about 3 types of perfection. One, Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha means they are eternally perfected beings. So he says that this Nitya Siddha devotees like Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, when these devotees, even if they appear in this world, they don't appear as ordinary living entities. That is a pastime only. It is under Krishna's Yoga Maya they appear. And they are not touched by material qualities. And when the pastimes are over, they go back to Krishna's another pastime. So there is no question of Nitya Siddhas getting contaminated by nature of this world. They come just for Krishna's pastimes. They assist and then they are there. Second is Sadhana Siddha. Sadhana Siddha means they also achieve perfection, but they achieve perfection through their sadhana, which is given by the Nitya Siddhas. When they come here, they give directions that how we have to perform Krishna consciousness. So they go through the stages. Adav Shraddha, Tatha Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava and Prema. So they follow that process and then they become perfected beings, Siddha. So that is called as the Sadhana Siddha. So that is also one way of perfecting. So the Sadhana Siddhas are living entities in this world who are under the influence of modes of material nature, under the Maya, but then they take to Krishna consciousness and becomes perfect by following the previous acharyas and Krishna consciousness. So that is called as a Sadhana Siddha. Third category, Prabhupada says, that is Krupa Siddha. Krupa Siddha is they get perfection by Krupa of some great personality. So Prabhupada gives example that somebody may be a millionaire from birth and then he remains millionaire. He doesn't have to work hard because he is millionaire from birth only. So some are millionaire of that category. Some, they are very poor, born in very normal family, but they work very hard and at one point of time they become millionaire. So that is second category, which compares to Sadhana Siddha. Third category is somehow by fortune, somebody who is very poor Somebody gives him 1 million rupees and then he becomes millionaire. He didn't work for it, but somehow he got a friend who is very rich and then he gave him. So these three kind of perfections are there. So yesterday we are hearing that this when somebody is going out of prison, when somebody is going, many, like, this is equal to us also, because we are also in now prison house of this material nature. That's why it is called as Durga. Durga means fort, in which everybody is kept, and our freedom is restricted. We can't do the way we like. So many forces of external world acts on us. That's why it is called as Durga. And the commander of this jail is Durga. That is the Maya Shakti. So when somebody wants to go out, then one has to do activities by which the jailer, because he has the key, he can open that key. That's why Krishna very clearly says, Maya adhyakshena prakruti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. That this Maya Shakti, that is under me only. And he says that it is very difficult to come out of this Maya, but Mam eva ye prapadyante Maya metam tarantate. That one can come out of this jail of Maya by surrendering to Krishna. When Krishna orders Maya, open the lock, then she opens and we can come out. So if somebody has come out like that, who has become perfected, who has become liberated, inside people can see that he has gone out. But that outside person, now inside people are asking him that how to go out. He says, I don't have the key. Key is with this. So you chant Hare Krishna, get Krishna's glance of mercy, and then door is opened. So that is our situation, that when we follow the path given by our acharyas, then we get chance to get out of this material world. So specifically in this case, Prabhupada writes in the second canto about Parikshit Maharaj, how he was such devotee from birth. So Prabhupada writes, according to Sridhara Swami, Maharaj Parikshit used to imitate the worship of the family deity by elderly members. So he says that because Pandavas, they were staying, and of course in their the Raja Sabha, there has to be altar where everybody worships the Supreme Lord. And when the Pandavas used to worship, Parikshit Maharaj was a small boy, he also used to imitate. Like here also we see that when mother, father, they come, small children, they are very apt in imitating. So here also we find Parikshit Maharaj used to imitate. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti also confirms the viewpoint of Jiva Goswami. So accepting either of them, Maharaj Parikshit was eternally inclined to Lord Krishna from his very childhood. He might have imitated either of the above mentioned activities, and all of them established his great devotion from his very childhood, a symptom of Mahabhagavata. Such Mahabhagavatas are called Nitya Siddhas, or souls liberated from birth. But there are also others who may not be liberated from birth, but who develop a tendency of devotional service by association, and they are called sadhana siddhas. There is no difference between the two in the ultimate issue, and so the conclusion is that everyone can become a sadhana siddha, a devotee of the Lord, simply by association with pure devotees. The concrete example is our great spiritual master Sri Narada Muni. In his previous life, he was simply a boy of a maid servant. But through association with great devotee, he became a devotee of Lord of his own standard, unique in the history of devotional service. So Prabhupada writes that there are Nitya Siddhas, but then one should not think that, okay, these are Nitya Siddhas, so what, we cannot become Nitya Siddhas, so we'll remain the way we are. Prabhupada says that whether it's a Nitya Siddha or whether it is Sadhana Siddha, both are on the same level when they are Siddha. By their perfection, now they are in Krishna consciousness. That's how Prabhupada says in one of the letter. He says that whether somebody is a millionaire by birth or somebody has acquired million rupees by work, now both are millionaire. You can get that million rupees, you can get their favor equally from both. So Prabhupada says here the example of Narad Muni, that how Narad Muni became perfect by his following the previous acharyas, specifically the Bhakti Vedantas who came at his place. So he says here, Canto 1st, Aham puratito bhave bhavam mune dasyastu kasyashchana vedavadinam nirupito balaka eva yoginam sushrushane pravrushi nirvikshatam. So he says that, O Muni, that he is telling to whom? Vyasadeva. He is telling, in the last millennium, I was born as a son of certain maid servant, engaged in service of Brahmanas, who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service. So here, the life of Narad Muni is given, that how he achieved the perfection by following the process of devotional service. And that process started with first installment of the mercy. So in one place, Prabhupada says that both are mercy only. One, get the mercy of Krishna by following the process, sadhana. So that also is one mercy. And one is, without following sadhana, they get mercy. That is Krupa Siddha. But both are mercy only. So he got the first installment of mercy. Te mayyapite khilachapalerbhake dante thrutakirdanake anuvartini chakru krupam yadyapi tulya darshana Shushrushamanu Munoyolpabhashini. Here he is talking about how he achieved that perfection. As Prabhupada gives Narada Muni's example, he says that Dante means having controlled his senses, Adhruta Kridanake, without being accustomed to childish sporting habits. Anuvartini, obedient, and Alpabhashani, one who does not speak more than required. So he talks about his position, his qualities, which attracted mercy of this Bhakti Vedantas, that he was self-controlled, he never wasted his time, and he was obedient. So these qualities, they attracted the mercy of Bhakti Vedantas. Prabhupada writes very nicely in the purport of this. This is 1.5.24. The end Prabhupada writes, without being self-controlled, without being disciplined and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instructions of the spiritual master. Without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead. I'll read it again. Prabhupada writes, without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instructions of the spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead. So these are very important qualities which self-controlled, obedience, being disciplined, then only one gets the mercy of spiritual master. And then one's path to back to Godhead becomes opened. And here Narad Muni is telling about his own life, how he got that mercy. Uchchishtalepānumodito dvijai sakrutma bhunje tadapasta kilvisha evam pravrittasya vishuddha cetasa tadharma evatma ruchi prajayate. Once only by their permission I took the remnants of their food, and by doing so all my sins were at once eradicated. Thus being engaged, I become purified in heart, and at that time the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to me. So here Narad Muni is telling that how he took the remnants of all these great sages. And we know, Prabhupada says that these three are very potential, teen Mahabal. Bhakta Pada Dhuli are Bhakta Pada Jal, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesh, ये तीन Mahabal. So these three are considered very powerful boosters in our devotional service, that if we can take remnants of pure devotee, if we can take the dust of lotus feet of pure devotee and the water which has washed the lotus feet of pure devotee, if we can get these three, that boosts our bhakti. So here Narad Muni got one, and that is he got the Bhakta Bhukta Avashesh, that he got the remnants of this. And Prabhupada writes here in the purport, pure devotion is as much infectious, in a good sense, as infectious diseases like corona. He doesn't write this. So generally here people are so fearful to go out. Not now so much, but then because that is very infectious. You go nearby and then somebody sneezes and things like that, then you also get it. But then Prabhupada says here that pure devotion also is in good sense like that. That you come in touch with social distancing less, that you come in touch with a pure devotee, you also get that same bhavana. So Krishna bhavana is transferred from one devotee who is having it to another, as much as a disease is transferred from one person to another by close proximity. So Prabhupada writes this. And Prabhupada writes that such remnants may be taken even without permission of a pure devotee. So Prabhupada gives that license. So here Prabhupada writes that this is how the acharyas they describe, that here we find the stages of devotional service, which is like Ado Shraddha. Prabhupada writes here, after the elimination of all sins or obstacles on the path of devotional service, one can become attracted, one can have steadiness, one can have perfect taste, one can have transcendental emotions, and at last one can be situated on the plane of loving service to the Lord. So we see that Adav Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya, that is talked in this Uchchishta Lepa Anumodita Udvijay, Sakrutma Bhunje Tadapasta Kilvishaha. His heart became cleansed. anartha nivritti. Evam pravuttasya vishuddha chetasa. He became completely removed of all this anarthas, became very fixed up. Tad dharma evatma ruchi prajayate. And then he became very attracted. The ruchi. So he became, Prabhupada writes in the purport here, that very nature of the transcendentalists became attractive to me. So he became transcendently attracted to this Vaishnavas. And in the next, Tatranvaham Krishna Katha Pragayata Manugrahena Shunavam Manohara Ta Shraddhayamenu Padam Vishnunvata Priyashravasyangamama Bhavadruchi. So here he says that Tatranvaham Krishna Katha Pragayata. When they were discussing this Krishna Katha, how it was? Manugrahena Shunavam Manohara. It was very manohara. That I was hearing it. Anushunavan, that I was hearing from an authorized source. Ta Shraddhaya, with great faith. Anupadam. So, he says that every step, what was happening? Vishnunvataha. Priyashravasyanga mamad bhavadruchihi. That I became very attached to Krishna at every step when I was hearing them. Now, so this is how one attained taste in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada writes in the purport, one can attain to the highest perfection of life simply by attentive hearing of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord from right source. And then ahead Prabhupada writes, that such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service. So Prabhupada writes that one becomes apprentice for many years. So this shows that under the guidance of the great acharyas, when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, as an apprentice is helper, then one becomes perfected being. And here the last verse, which talks about the perfection achieved by Narad Muni. Ittham sharat pravrushika vrutu hare vishrunvato menu savam yashomalam sankirtyamanam munibhir mahatmabhi bhakti pravrittatma rajastamopaha. Thus during 2 seasons, the rainy season and autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great souled sages constantly chant the unadulterated glories of the Lord Hari. As the flow of my devotional service began, the covering of modes of passion and ignorance vanished. So we see here that that's how Prabhupada also says this line, that when he is going in the Jaladuta, he writes that how these people, they are covered with mode of ignorance and passion. I don't know how they will come out of it. Rajastamo bhava sabai achanna. So he says that I don't know how they will come. But then he says, Vasudeva Katha. He says that is so powerful that it can bring people out of that conditioned life and reinstate them on the perfected stage. So here we find the example of Narad Muni, how he became perfected by the association and by following the path given by these great acharyas, which we also can follow. There is nothing to lament that, oh, I am not a Nitya Siddha. But then, Prabhupada writes here that everybody has a possibility of becoming Sadhana Siddha. And he gives an example of Krupa Siddha. He gives an example of Bali Maharaj. Prabhupada writes in the 10th canto only, 20th chapter, 3rd verse. Thus Bali Maharaj became a Krupa Siddha because of the special mercy of both Guru and Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms the favor, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Bali Maharaj, by the grace of Prahlad Maharaj, got the seed of devotional service, and when the seed developed, he achieved the ultimate fruit of that service, namely love of Godhead. Prema Pumartho Mahan. Immediately upon the appearance of Lord Vamanadev, Bali Maharaj regularly maintained devotion to the Lord, and because he was purified, the Lord appeared before him. Because of unalloyed love for the Lord, he then immediately decided, I shall give this little dwarf Brahmana whatever he asks from me. This is sign of love. Thus Bali Maharaj is understood to be one who received the highest perfection of devotional service by special mercy. So Bali Maharaj is the example of this Krupa Siddha. That he got Krupa from his grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, who was also the very great personality, who was, as Prabhupada writes about Parikshit Maharaj, he was also from the beginning Krishna conscious, from the womb of his mother. And then he received the mercy of Vamanadev also. And Prabhupada writes about these Nitya Siddhas. These Nitya Siddhas are not ordinary souls, and we can never come to that level. So Prabhupada writes in the pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna, that Mother Yashoda is not an ordinary soul. As Prabhupada writes here in the 10.9.20 in the purport, Mother Yashoda naturally acts in such an exalted position in loving affairs. She is therefore a Nitya Siddha devotee, an expansion of Krishna's Ladini potency, his potency to enjoy transcendental bliss through expansions who are special devotees, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibha Vibhabis, Tabhivis. Such devotees are not sadhana siddha. So, the devotees who are coming with Krishna, they are not ordinary. They are that's why the Narottam Das Thakur also sings that Gaurangera Sangi Gane Nitya Siddha Kari Mane Se Jai Vrajendra Sutta Pai. That those who are not only associates of Krishna, but all the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, they are not ordinary. He says, Gaurangera Sangi Gane Nitya Siddha Kari Mane Se Jai Vrajendra Sutta Pas. Just by understanding that they are not ordinary, Nitya Siddha, one goes to Krishna. One becomes he becomes attached to Krishna, Krishna becomes very close to him just by having this understanding. So here, one important thing which Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, that how this Krupa is achieved by the mercy of Panchatattva, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which Prabhupada went all over the world on this one faith, that Krishna Krupa is very difficult, but Nityananda Krupa, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Krupa, that is very easy, which is very much established here in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, with great faith and transcendental ecstasy, he writes this. Mukha kavita kare yana sabara smarane pangu giri langhe andha dekhe tare gane. He says that when the mercy is there, even a blind man can see stars in daytime also. And a person who is pangu, he is lame, can cross the mountains. So that Krupa is very powerful. So he says, by remembering the lotus feet of Panchatattva, a dumb man can become a poet, a lame can cross mountains, and blind man can see the stars in the sky. And then he says, Ye sab na mane pandita sakala tasabara vidya patha bheka kolahala. So he says, Ye sab na mane, ye pandita sakala. One may be very scholarly, but then he doesn't accept this fact. Ta sabara vidya pat bhek kolahala. The education cultivated by so-called learned scholars who do not believe this statement of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a tumultuous croaking of frogs, he says. So, without proper understanding of mercy of devotees, specifically the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, only scholarship in matter of devotional service becomes like a frog, sounding. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that when the frogs, they are making sounds, what they do is they are only attracting snakes who will come and eat them. And then he goes on telling, Ye sabana mane yabe kare Krishna bhakti, Krishna krupa nahi tara gati. So he says, one who does not accept the glories of Panchatattva but still makes a show of devotional service to Krishna can never achieve the mercy of Krishna or advance to the ultimate goal. So, why? Because in this world to understand Krishna consciousness is not so easy. People, although they love Lord Ram, still they point fingers to Lord Ram also. Why he killed, Bali? Why he, sent Sita to forest? Why he killed somebody, some lower person who was doing some tapasya? Why? So they put finger on Ram also. What to speak of Krishna? Krishna, they put all fingers. It's like that. So practically every activity of Krishna is kind of objectionable to outside people. So to make that Krishna our life's goal is not so easy. Externally people may come and worship, but then to actually got hold of Krishna's lotus feet is not so easy. But then Prabhupada says here that with the mercy of Panchatattva that becomes possible. Then we understand Krishna Tattva properly. So here he says, it is very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness, but one who advances by instructions of the previous acharyas and follows in the footsteps of his predecessors in the line of disciplic succession will have success. Others will not. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says in this connection, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paichekeba. Unless one serves the spiritual master and acharya, one cannot be liberated. Echhaya Gosai Yar Muitara Das Tasabara Padarenu Mora Panchagras. And then he gives very nice example of this, that how one may be worshipping Vishnu also, but not got mercy of previous acharyas, then he doesn't get purified. And it is very nice example he gives. He says, Purve yaiche jarasandha adi rajagana veda dharma kari kare vishnura pujana. So he says, formerly kings like Jarasandha, the father-in-law of Kamsa, strictly followed the Vedic rituals, thus worshipping Lord Vishnu. So Jarasandha was no less in terms of ritualistic performances, and he was worshipping whom? Vishnu only. But he wanted to kill Krishna. So, why? Because he couldn't understand about Vishnu from proper sources. When he is not following the acharya, then even you may worship Vishnu and actually you may be inimical to Vishnu. So Jarasandha is a good example of that. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, in these verses, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is very seriously stressing the importance of worship of Panchatattva. If one becomes a devotee of Gaur Sundar or Krishna, but does not give importance to Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, his activities are considered to be offenses, or in the words of Srila Rupa Goswami, Utpata, disturbance. Shruti, Smruti, Puranadi, Pancharatriki Vidhimvina, Ekantiki Harer Bhakti, Utpata eva Kalpate. So rather than creating a fruit of devotional service, that is Krishna Prem, he is doing Vishnu worship, that is creating hatred to Krishna, and he is fighting with Krishna, wanting to kill Krishna. So one must therefore be ready to offer due respects to Panchatattva before becoming a devotee of Lord Gaur Sundar or Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he goes on telling, Krishna nahi mane tate daitya kari mani, Chaitanya na mani leta che daitya tare jani. One who does not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly a demon. Similarly, anyone who does not accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, the same Supreme Lord, is also to be considered a demon. It's confirmed. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that getting mercy is not possible without proper channel. So Prabhupada was so convinced about it that without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, without the mercy of Panchatattva, this is not possible. And that's how we see that wherever Srila Prabhupada went, he established Sri Radha, Krishna's deities, along with Gaurnitai. So he knew that without the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, people of this world, Kali Yuga, Western world and westernized world, like in which we all are, both have no hope without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Panchatattva. So, it is very important that the way Krishna consciousness has spread all over the world by the very great potency of this Panchatattva, which came through their personal Senapati, Bhakta, Srila Prabhupada. He went all over the world like a Senapati conquering. There are so many conquerors in the world. Mughals, Britishers, Alexander, the Small, Great. There are so many. They came, conquered, and then they are gone now. They have become just one line in history, that such and such king was there in such and such place. This time he born, this time he died, and then gone, nothing now. But then, you can imagine the potency of Prabhupada. He didn't conquer the place, he conquered people. He conquered their hearts, and that also to time immemorial. Now, for thousands and thousands of years, Krishna consciousness will spread. So, because it is so important that we practice Krishna consciousness with this seriousness to get this mercy of Krishna. I was just hearing this story, one devotee was telling, that in 1958, in China, they wanted to maximize their food production. So to maximize food production, they found that lot of food is wasted, because the sparrows, they come on the field, which are thousands in numbers, and then they eat the grains. And China had so much, it's like number one population, so they wanted to make sure that the food is protected. And the kind of government they have, it's like king. He says this is east, then everybody has to agree that this is East. And then so there was a Abhiyan. It became like now the way we have Swachhata Abhiyan or the COVID Abhiyan or whatever. Like that, there was a government movement eradicating sparrows. So there was a prizes given, there was a training given how to kill sparrows. The whole army, police, civil people, practically everything was kind of guided to make China sparrow free so that grains will be saved. And they did it so nicely because it's like the whole thing was one pointed, Ekeha Kurunandana. So that became very fast. Within 2 years, they couldn't see any sparrow, nowhere. So they were very happy. But then their happiness as material world remained for a very short time. Why? Because then came the locust attack. Like here also in this year we found the tiddi, Hindi mein bolte na, oh aata hai. So when it came, it was like 100 times more powerful than before. Before also it had come, but this time it was like in crores they were coming, and they were coming to one village, and they had no idea what to do now. The whole village becomes like saf. Then they go to next village. They tried their best with their army and whatever. The whole China was devastated by that attack. And then came the greatest, the food shortage. It was like people had no food to eat. And 2 crore people died officially because of that food shortage. So one sparrow, when it is removed from the cycle, what happened? 2 crore people died. So you can see how important it is. Krishna has made all the system. You take one link out, one sparrow out, and then cost is 2 crore people life. And now people think that they can remove the person who has created the sparrow, God only, to take out. You know how much it will cost? It will cost universes. Not only just 2 crore people. So it is very important that Krishna consciousness has to be done very, it is like need of the hour. And now this month is coming of marathon month, which Prabhupada had so mercifully given to us to extend ourselves for others, not only to us. And the slogan of this year's marathon is live to give. So we live to give. And by giving only we live. So in Marathi they have very nice, we used to have in our schools. It says that person who is giving, he should keep giving. Person who is receiving should keep receiving. And while receiving, the receiver should receive the hands of giver also, which is giving. So that means he should become the giver also in due course of time. Not that remain receiver only. So in our case, we have received the mercy of devotees, mercy of Prabhupada, mercy of Panchatattva. Now while receiving, we should receive their very gracious hand which was giving. And this is what this marathon month is. And when we give, we can actually save many people. His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj was telling this, with this will end, that when he was there in Russia sometimes the temperature is very low. It was -10. And then they had arranged a Harinam Sankirtan. But now -10, devotees were feeling little odd to go out. And they said that nobody will be there out. It's just snowing outside. But Maharaj said, no, we have already in schedule, so we'll go anyway. So few devotees, they went doing Harinam in the snow of Russia. They were going to the park. And nobody was there. It's like people were sitting in their homes. And from the window they were seeing something outside. And devotees were enthusiastically chanting, dancing. For them it doesn't matter whether snow is there or whatever is there. So they were dancing, chanting. They went to the park. So one person, he had gone to park to commit suicide because he was so kind of frustrated. So he had climbed the tree of park and he was putting a rope by which he will hang and then Ram Nam Satya Hai. So he was sitting there when devotees were coming down and doing Harinam in park. So when he was seeing the devotees, seeing the rope which he was about to put, then he saw that these devotees looked quite happy. Yeah. I never saw such people happy. Can I also become happy like this? I am so depressed. So then he felt that, okay, let me give a chance. So he kept the rope aside, climbed down, and then joined the party. And then he came. So devotees were very happy that somebody joined. They didn't know why he had joined. So then he came to the temple. So Maharaj was telling later on that we don't know, knowingly, unknowingly, so many people are saved from the cruel, death of this material world. So just by chanting Hare Krishna and distributing Prabhupada's books, which are so potent, which has transformed our life to some extent, we want to give it. So just live to give. Let us make our life better by giving it, what Prabhupada has given us. So today we saw there are 3 types of devotees, Siddhas, Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha and Kripa Siddha. We saw the examples. Yashoda Mata as Nitya Siddha, Bali Maharaj Kripa Siddha, Narad Muni as Sadhana Siddha. And then we saw that without mercy of Panchatattva, mercy of Krishna is very difficult. And we saw the example of Jarasandha, that without proper understanding and proper authorized source from where he gets trained, becomes very difficult. And then we saw that how by mercy of Prabhupada we are getting this chance to give. And by this giving only we will actually live in our own Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Any comment, Prabhuji? Okay, so we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.